Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah. This is our third session for the playlist here. I mentioned a few things about the history of the United States. Every now and then I'll talk about the United States of America. That's where I live, and I'll talk about it a little bit. For those of you around the country here, around the world even, we say yokoso to you in Japan, Ohio in Japan. And we say bienvenidos in Spain, or bienvenue and vive la France. Wherever you are there. Carlos Rezate, our friends in Greece. Let's move on. Let's move on. Karibu for my African friends. Let's go as we get into the playlist here, and we just left off on number 3, which is I call the trifecta. There are basically 3 commands, and all 3 of them are the high command, and they're basically telling you that you're going to have to cultivate a love for God and for humans, and it's going to have to be cultivated ASAP. And that's what we push here. Truth pushes and creates love. That's what develops love, is truth. Also what develops love is for you to open yourself to love. You have to open yourself. You can harden your heart and shut down if you want to. They had a famous soul song by the Stylistics years ago. Open up and let it in. Jump on in. Don't be afraid to make yourself vulnerable. What's the name of that song? Stop, look, and listen to your heart and what it's saying. You're supposed to listen to the fact that the scriptures are speaking to you, and that's what's speaking to your heart. Now, that song is a little on the dangerous side because it's telling you that you can possibly do this on your own, and that's not the case. The Bible said you can do nothing without Jesus Christ. We are here to perform and to obey and fulfill the royal law, which we're going over right now. You're going to do that by you opening up yourself to the commandments of Jesus Christ, to reality. Embracing reality is what's going to bring you the love of God. Okay? And the trifecta is with all your heart, the way you love yourself, and the way He loved. Those are 3 calls to take, as we say in America, take your game up. That's what it means. It means that you being a flippant person, 1 minute over here, 1 minute over there. I care about Cindy today, but tomorrow I'm going to spend my whole afternoon taking care of my car. And I'm not going to take care of Frank over there, help him out. I'm going to take care of myself again today and myself again tomorrow. And I'm going to get a Me magazine from the grocery store here in America. Me magazines are very popular here in America. And I think they just released new Me magazines. Okay, that's called not taking your game up. That's called ouch. Number 4 in this ministry is grace. Grace, mercy, peace, and rest. Now, I've been focusing a lot on grace and mercy, but we've talked about peace and rest here. Let's talk about number 4 in this ministry, which is the Fantastic 4. Grace is fantastic because it's surprising, and it has mystery, and it is powerful, and it makes you happy, and it's new, and that's why it's fantastic. It's surprisingly good. Grace means something came good to you, and it came to you that's good, and you don't deserve it, and you can't deserve it. That's what it means. In other words, God gives grace to the humble. So we just mentioned this. If you don't get on your knees at Jordan, you'll never see love and you'll never get grace. And the good thing that came to you that you don't deserve is agape love. That's the big thing you got. You turn your TV on, some of these preachers or people that you meet in the streets, they say there's healing, that healing is the big thing, that money, extra money, looking at yourself in the mirror, getting in shape, all this Starbucks kind of world here in America, plastic, men with tank tops showing off muscles and tattoos or something. It's all a big circus and a show. America's turning into a circus. And these are people who don't know love. These are people who have not humbled themselves in the sight of the Lord. They're not walking with the Lord. They're not taking the grace of God and running with it and standing in it. The way you own the grace of God is for you to take the opportunity to be humble and to lower yourself in the sight of the Lord and to put on the commandments of Jesus Christ, and that's how you are graced. You're graced by allowing purity to run your life. That's what grace means. Grace means I allowed purity to rule my life. That's what grace is. You might want to use the word charisma or charismatic. It's charis. It means opportunity. It means availability. It means good is there for you and you didn't deserve it. And why don't you take that grace and stand in it and own it? You have to stand in grace. You have to stand in the opportunity to receive good. And the way you stand is basically on your knees, being quiet and doing what you're told. That's standing in the grace of God. On your knees saying, yes, sir. That's how you stand in the grace of God. If God sends you on a love duty, you don't complain. That's standing in the grace of God. He sent me on a love duty. I went and I allowed the force to accomplish what it wants to do, to go bind up the brokenhearted over here, and I'm a winner at this point. Let's move on, because most of you are going to allow this grace to flow through you and for you to become a productive member of the church. We hope most of you. You're going to stand in this grace. You're going to stand in this opportunity. Mercy is the same thing. That's why we've been focusing on grace and mercy quite a bit here, because it means basically the same thing, and your Bible will use these words interchangeably. Because both of them basically mean you got good that you don't deserve. And under both of those conditions, you're going to have to love God in order to get both of them. If you don't want to love God, you're not going to get either one of these. You're going to have to actively pursue loving God. And you actively pursue loving God by loving your neighbor and building them up. That's why Jesus came to Peter and asked him, do you love me? Because he was not love duty active. This idea that you can sit in your can, and do what you want to do like Peter was doing, you're going to find yourself in trouble. The Lord's going to come knocking on your door like he did Peter and say, do you love me? If you love me, you're busy. I mentioned it a million times here. I learned that from my parents. They didn't hardly say a word. They were from Missouri, the show me state here in America. Show me. Don't talk too much. Just do something. I just counseled, well, you might call it counsel, an old friend here recently, and I told him that I'm fortunate. I think you're like a lot of people that I've been talking to off and on here recently, whereby that your life doesn't really speak that you're in full submission to God. I don't see any church activities. I don't see proper clothing being worn. You know, on it goes, and the evidence doesn't look good. You know, you're in the maybe zone. If you were dressed properly and you had some sort of church duty, and you had praise music on when I came over to your house, and okay, then we can start saying, hey man, this looks good, dude. This looks good. Okay? And some people have told me, oh, you're demanding perfection on people. No, I'm not. I'm just using common sense. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. You go to somebody's house and they're buck wild, they're not saved. They might get saved. They might be backslidden or something, and God's still connected to them, but it doesn't look good, does it? Of course it doesn't. It's common sense. If I go over your house and there's worship music, you're dressed properly. If you're a man, you don't have muscle shirts on, flexing your muscles in the mirror with tattoos and smiling in the mirror, looking at your own teeth or something, looking at the watch you have, it has glitter all over it like a TV preacher or something. Okay, if you don't have these characteristics, then it looks good. But if you do, it doesn't look good. I go over to a Christian sister's house, and I don't mention this too much, but if you go over to someone's house and they say they're a Christian, whatever, and their clothes are all looking like some sort of a street woman or something, it doesn't look good. Okay, that's it. You can flap your jaws if the cows come home. You don't look right, and it ain't right. So that's you're not representing, as they say here in America recently. You're not representing. And it doesn't look good. I didn't say you weren't saved. I just said it doesn't look good. Okay, whether you like it or not, that's what I just told you. Okay? If I came over your house and you're a woman and you have a real nice long dress on, nice and clean, and your hair's combed, and you're covered, and there's some worship music going on, and the house is clean, okay, then we can kind of say, and you go to bed early, you don't have cable TV or something, okay, then you're smoking, man. I mean, okay, that looks awfully good to me. That's standing in the grace of God. That's what that means. Standing on the promises of God, my Savior. Standing on the promises of God. And through eternal ages, His praises will ring out of us. For this grace we're talking about here. Let's let grace go. We can talk about grace forever. It's a big issue in the church, as you know. But the bottom line is grace and mercy basically mean that God is going to give you things in the future that you don't deserve. And mercy means that things that you did wrong, He's going to shine it on. We talk about this all the time because it's a big issue here. God wants you to be merciful too, like the way He is with you. To a point, obviously. You have to use wisdom with mercy. You don't go into a bar and look for murderers and say, I forgive you. That's not Christianity. You don't wander the streets looking for a man who's abusive or a woman who's too loose and then say, I want to marry you. You don't do that. I want to show you mercy. That's not mercy. That's called stupidity. The Master said, if he repents, forgive him. I'll say it again. If he repents, forgive him. My mother used to mention that. Let's continue. Let's go to number 5 here. I'm going to let peace and there's grace, mercy, peace, and rest. Peace means to stop the war and stop all opposition. That means the devil has to go. His name means opposition. And rest is your soul is at rest. You're relaxed, your mind is in order, and you have rest for your soul. Rest is a word that usually means that your mind is also at ease, not just your heart. Your mind and your heart are at ease. That's what Sabbath means. Now let's move on. Let's go to, obviously we're going to go to number 5 here. Now number 5 is the big 5 here. That is, I have a little formula I have for you as to what faith means. Now, I have a very complicated lesson there, or some kind of complicated, available for you online right now in this channel under number 5. However, I'm going to put up a new number 5, and I'm going to make that the 2023 Big 5. Okay? That is very simply stating to you what Christian faith is, without getting too many details. When you get into too many details as a teacher, you lose the pupil in general. Now, for those of you who want to move on, I have a lot of lessons here in detail as to what faith means. However, most of the time I'm going to refer to these 5 principles when we read through the Bible. Remember, what we're doing now is setting up groundwork for the future. Because I'm going to read about 7 chapters a day here pretty soon. Maybe 8 chapters, I don't know. But we're going to listen to a lot of chapters. I'm going to mention a few words. I might mention a few points, and we're moving on. Now let's get back to the big 5 here. So the big 5. What is the big 5? It's faith, hope, and love. But it starts out with faith. That is confidence in things that you really don't understand very well, and you don't know how it's going to come to you, and you don't know when it's going to happen necessarily, but you're confident that it's going to happen, and it's basically an expectation. You anticipate something. You're on the edge of your seat, and some sort of action, some sort of presence, some sort of feeling, some sort of something, and that's what it is. And you're persuaded that this is coming to you. You trust in someone or something other than yourself, or in something that has not come to fruition, etc., etc. It's a deep subject, but the bottom line is you have confidence in something that you really don't fully understand, and that's what it means. And it also can be something that you don't fully understand. You might understand part of it, but it still requires some faith, even though you understand part. Paul said, we know in part. So that's the point. Okay, it's very simple. I have confidence in something that I really don't understand, or that hasn't come to me yet, but I'm expecting it. I'm anticipating it. Okay, that's what the word faith means. Now, I'll give you a quick story. When I was in college, a professor, a very nice guy. He was lost and confused, but a very nice guy and a very well-educated gentleman. Very nice guy. He told me one day, he said, Jeremiah, you have faith. He does it in front of the class as though I'm going to be embarrassed or something. I don't know. He doesn't know that I have a forehead of flint, and I can buck heads with anybody. I don't have a problem bucking heads. You can talk about me like a dog. It doesn't bother me that much. I'm going to go get some soda. I remember one time they made fun of me in a classroom of sociology, and I took 2 sociology. I don't know why they had me take 2 sociology courses. Was it 2? I forgot, because I've taken it 3 times. One time in a junior college, or one time. Anyway, let's move on. And the whole class laughed at me, and they go, ah, ha, 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 ha. And I was like, what? How many Frenchmen can't be wrong here? The professor said that murderers aren't born, so we made the murderer or something. That he was making a sociological point. And I go, dude, you're accountable for what you do. And they go, ah, ha, ha, ha. And I looked at all these students and I go, you know what? I can't wait to go to 7-Eleven and get me a soda pop in about 30 minutes. That's how much I'm disturbed by you people who might be called knuckleheads. Okay, you don't bother me. They have a saying in America, consider the source. So you know what? You guys don't know that much. As far as you knowing knowledge as I do, none of you in this classroom, including the professor, are not in my league. And that's just the way it is. And the point is that I'm not here to be a smart aleck or put anybody down. I'm not better than anybody. But as far as knowledge and so forth. We're all in a different category here, and let's just move on to class. That's, laugh or whatever you want to do, whatever, I'm going to get some soda. It's hot today, maybe. I'm going to go get some soda. I can't wait to quench my thirst at the AM PM mini market here, right around the corner from the college. I got a nice car that's very comfortable to get in, and I'm going to enjoy my cruise. And what you people did here, laughing at me, whatever, that has nothing to do with me enjoying myself at all. One bad apple does not spoil the whole bunch here. And collectively, with all of your intelligences together, probably couldn't match mine, because I have the mind of Christ, and I have a lot of knowledge, and I know how to manipulate that knowledge. None of you in this class can do that, including the professor. But back to the other professor who told me, Jeremiah, you don't have anything but faith. And I go, bro, the Bible says these three abide. I'll tell you one more time. These three abide. I just don't have faith. Okay, somebody told you something wrong. You missed the boat. You flunked the class, professor. Christianity is not faith alone. It's faith, hope, and love. I own all three of these. Did you hear me? He wasn't listening, the professor. Christians just don't own an expectation that they don't understand fully. They own love. That's not faith. If you have love inside of you, it has nothing to do with faith, because you own it. Faith is believing in something you don't own. Let's continue. So the next point is faithing in this ministry under number 5. 5.2 is faithing. The Bible has the word faithing, which means there are a lot of things that you're confident in as a Christian. Not just one thing. Right? You're confident that God's going to love you tomorrow. Okay? You're confident. That's why you're happy. If you thought God's love was going to leave you high and dry tomorrow, you wouldn't be happy. There's nothing worse than having an empty heart. It's the worst thing for a human being is to have an empty heart and to sit and stare at the wall and nobody loves you. It's the worst thing there is. I mean, you can be a king in a castle and be by yourself. Nobody loves you. You don't love anybody. Well, what's the castle for? I had a rich roommate who had $500,000 spending change, and all he wanted to do was talk about killing himself every now and then because he was empty. But yet he had $500,000 to $800,000 coming to him. I think he was going to have $800,000 if he sold one of his homes for spending change. He could spend all of it and still be relatively rich, with having T-bill accounts, 3 checks coming in the mail with this, and a good businessman from that perspective. But when he found out that he wasn't happy with all the cars and everything, he just sat there and stared in his window, and he started singing that song by the rock and roll band from downstairs, probably. A lot of this rock and roll is from hell, which was, I can't get no satisfaction. There you go. Can't get any satisfaction from material things. The Master clearly says that happiness does not consist of the abundance of things men possess. But yet you turn your TV on and they say it is happiness, which means they're liars. Liar, liar, pants on fire. That gentleman had 5 cars and he knew movie stars and told me he hung around movie stars, whatever. He had a fat wallet hanging around Beverly Hills, going to the Santa Monica Pier with classic cars, and he had a shark suit and whatever, made out of shark or something. And he said, all I want to do is kill myself or something. Why? Because happiness will never come from abundance of things that you possess. And if happiness comes from things that you possess, that means that you're a plastic person. You're not real. You might declare you have a heart, but you don't have a heart, because the only way to have a heart is to have the agape love of Jesus Christ. That's the only way to have a heart. Otherwise, you're just a liar. You say, I have a heart. No, you don't. You might have affection for animals, for people, and that's affection. You don't know love. You don't know love until you love Jesus Christ, period. I talked to somebody here the other day. They go, "Yeah, I love animals and animals and animals." I said, "Listen, some of the people I know, some of the people in town here who take care of the animals here at the animal shelter, because I go over there and I've supported them off and on. And I basically wanted to tell that gentleman that, listen, let me tell you something. You're an empty shell, is what you are, because there's no way that you're going to get satisfaction from loving animals. You're lying to me. That's what you're doing. You're empty." And you get a little bit of satisfaction from animals, but you're not going to get the agape high love from this lifestyle you own, sir. You better confess that you are subjected to the Son of the living God, sir. And then we have some conversation. Otherwise, there's nothing really for us to really talk about. Corinthians chapter 16. If anybody does not love the Lord, cut them off. I love animals. I love cars. I love money. I love politics. I love the future of America. I love this. Everybody has all these loves around here, but nobody's saying they love Jesus Christ. Faith, hope, and love. These three abide. So there's many things you can put confidence in as a Christian. You can put confidence in history. You should put confidence in history and science. Science is right in your face. I'll teach you a little bit of science here. Most Bible teachers I've been affiliated with, they didn't talk about science very much at all. Your Bible is full of science. The Bible says up is up and down is down always. Up is always up. You turn your TV on, your computer on, they'll tell you that you're turning sideways. Or upside down, or round and round you go. Utter nonsense. Every time you look up, you're looking up. If you look up right now, you're looking at Father. If you look down, you're looking at hell. No matter, I don't care what time of day it is, the Bible says that, and that's what it means. That's science right there for you. For you to contradict that means you're basically mentally retarded. That means that Einstein was essentially mentally retarded. He was. He may have been brilliant in some areas, but he's an idiot savant, is what he is. Because the science right in his face, he refused to accept. Such as up is up and down is down. That goes for, I think, Tesla too. Mr. Electricity. Now, the different things you can have confidence in. Now, number 3 in this ministry is there's 2 kinds of faith that are basically going on here. There's earth faith, and then there's celestial faith. That is that things you're believing in your human body are related to your human body. When it comes to the word hope, that's referring to you really being confident in getting out of here and being with the one you love. Number 4, 5.4 is there's saving faith and there's not saving faith. There are people that have confidence in God and it ain't going to work. James said the demons have lots of confidence in God, but they're not saved. There's 2 different kinds of there's 2 different kinds of confidence. One that leads to you owning your soul going to heaven, and another one that doesn't. Corinthians 13. Oh, the man has confidence in God's power, but Paul said he doesn't have love. So guess what? He's not saved. Now, 5.5 in this ministry is lean, hide, prop, and carry. I'll get back to that later. We're going to move on. Let's go to number 6 in this ministry, which is 7-11. It's called wisdom. Now, wisdom is, what is wisdom? Well, it's making good decisions that are beneficial for you. That's what wisdom is. Now, wisdom has a steering wheel in God's car and a steering wheel in your car, which is God got a steering wheel, and you have a steering wheel in your car. You can drive your soul right off the cliff, just like Judas did. The Bible says that Judas was basically in like flint and basically saved. But he drove his soul right off the cliff. God gives you a steering column. He'll push you, he'll guide you, he'll warn you, he'll love you, but he's not going to make you love him and be wise. He's not going to do that. That means that's God's steering wheel, and there's your steering wheel in the vehicle. And the back seat is the devil making suggestions. So that you lose your soul, that you don't pay attention to the number one steering wheel. That you push against the guidance of your number one steering wheel, which is God. And next in wisdom is, what coalition are you going to make? Are you going to make a wise coalition with God, the number one steering wheel, or are you going to make a coalition with the devil in the back seat? You're going to have to pick one of the two to basically guide you. The one standing next to you who loves you and who wants you to be saved and endure the hardships of a Christian. And then there's one in the back seat who's telling you to do everything wrong, which is going to take you to a place where you don't go to heaven. That's his job, and the Lord lets him do it. That's wisdom. I'll be right back with number 7, which is beauty, and that's a monster. That's one it takes forever to go through, because I decided to make beauty the big issue here in this ministry last year, okay? It's such a wonderful subject. Maranatha.